Hi, I'm Vytis, founder and CEO of a digital marketing agency, Define Chase. I've spent more than $100 million on ads for our clients, and as a CMO, now I'm into AI. We're building stuff. I want to show you what works in the digital marketing space. And my agency is now doing 2 million, so I hope that helps if you're close to that range or above that. I started my career over 13 years ago, and throughout the journey, I worked in many different agencies, and I saw the troubles most companies have, and taking a lot of time for most businesses is reporting. We're reporting, creating dashboards, plugging all different channels, Google Ads, Meta Ads, Google Analytics, the different attribution models. If you have X, Snapchat, there's TikTok. If you have like 10, 20, 40, or 50 clients, the reporting process becomes very, there's conversions, there's all conversions, there's different attribution models, if you're working with app marketing, you have attribution partners like AppsFlyer, Adjust, Singular, Coachella, so there's like a lot of information. And it's very hard, especially if the team is constantly changing and there's no data science team. And previously everything used to take forever. So most companies, what they do, they usually have a Looker Studio, Power BI, maybe Tableau. They plug some data, but most of them just are stuck with Looker Studio. And now it's called Data Studio once again. And they have just the basic Google Ads, Google Analytics data. And if they're very technical, they might have Facebook data as well. But it's not really aggregated as well. And the insights are pretty basic. You don't see per creative, you don't see per search term, if it's Google Ads, no hook rates, no hold rates. It's usually very slow, using either Supermetrics or other basic tools. Some people are using Google Sheets. So reporting process is very, let's say, non-ideal. And we used to use the agency side Looker as the main goat, but most agencies are still doing Google Sheets and manual reporting, like what was planned, what was actually delivered, and those kind of things. And they are actually very crappy. So it's hard to compare month over month, year over year, all this kind of information. The main reason why I'm saying this is that I saw the struggle with reporting. So as an example, when I was working for one of the bigger marketing agencies, they hired a data scientist. He did not know anything about Google Ads, Meta Ads, APIs. He did not know Google Analytics metrics. He did not know Google Ads or Facebook metrics. So everything was problematic for him. He was building for months. He was not able to ship it. Then he left the company. Then a new guy came along. And I was the one explaining how each metric, each dimension is working per platform, per channel. And then the other guy came to the agency, and he also did not know anything. He came from a bank. He was data scientist, so he was trying to plug the AI back in, and it failed once again. We had to say goodbye. Then once again I was teaching the guy what to do, and he took some bones back from the previous data scientist guy. What happened else? Another guy came in. The next guy was, trying as well. We actually brought back even another one, so another guy that's managing that guy. And they also failed. Once again, I was teaching. The fifth became a superstar in the Lithuanian market and with the company. And after that, I went to work as a marketing manager for a huge company. That company has games that are billions of downloads, so 1 billion downloads specifically. One game is downloaded 1 billion times. And the main idea was that they have different games. App marketing, you have cohorts, you have retention metrics, also a lot of channels. So you have not just Google, you also have AppLovin, Mongo, Unity, Charboost, Mintegral, Apple Search Ads. So the channels pool is way higher. And before I came there, they had a solution that had a 1 week delay before the data comes in. The drill downs were pretty basic, no visualization, just raw tables. You had to wait 1 week to see your results. So I really pushed. We're spending millions. We were waiting a week to get the data back. So I pushed and I told Power BI because on the previous agency I helped with Power BI and implementation and API connection. I did some API connections myself. We got Power BI, which looked drastically better. We could have year, month, week, day drill downs. We also had by country, revenue, day 1 ROAS, day 7, day 3, day 14, day 30. So all of the cohorts and a lot of information that wasn't there in the first place. And then we had a delay of 1 day, and then afterwards, it almost instant. So more of that took a while. The data engineer had to be replaced in that company. The CFO started doing all of the plugging. So it's a complex task even for companies who are spending millions. And now as an agency owner, once I moved from that company and created my own marketing agency, the first thing I did instantly knew that reporting is a bottleneck. So what I did, I bought instantly a subscription, which was fun about it. We used Looker Studio and everything was because we had all of the data. We could combine any dimensions and new metrics, create custom calculations, custom conditions, improve our naming convention. We started having our own reports, and that made sense. But what happened after that is that it was slow because we were pulling the data to Looker Studio and we were not storing any data in the cloud. So no BigQuery, no nothing. It was just going directly to the platform itself. And I was the main guy who was, aware of once again, about all of the dimensions, all of the metrics, and how to do the naming conventions. And it was very hard to transfer the knowledge to the team, especially once the company was starting fresh and we had sales, we had client retention, we had campaign activities, we had like content, and there's a lot of activities, and the team is small at the start. We started like with 2 people, me and my friend, then we expanded to 4 people, then expanded once again to 8, then 12, whatever. Now we downsized back to 6 because of all of the automation and the way we want to work. But looking at the things outside, so the reporting part was always a hard thing to tackle. It worked way better than probably 90% of agencies, and we sold it as a subscription. The next phase was you have to own the data. So what we did, we moved to BigQuery, and then we use the data in query on Looker Studio, and that made the whole data snappy. So it was super snappy. The information passed through fast. That made me realize that since we now own the data, basically it's in our cloud, it's not somewhere else. Then basically the AI boom started. That's when orchestrating started. And that's when I realized that the OpenClaw moment has happened. So how I solved it is I started plugging my OpenClaw agent to the BigQuery data, and it unlocked another possibility. So my team was able to chat with the data through Slack, create instant reports, any channel up for any client. So another thing that followed after we were able to plug our AI agents to BigQuery is that we started to create presentations. So the data then became a tool with the AI to create presentations. So we created a cron job, and then the presentations started to flow every Monday for weekly meetings, for monthly meetings. Then we plugged in ClickUp. Then the information started to populate with insights. So that automated the whole reporting in a way. Then we started seeing that there needs to be a more frequent quality check. So what we did, we then connected the APIs to Facebook, to Google, to D360 and other marketing channels to our AI agents. And then we developed tasks that they are constantly checking what's happening with our clients in their landing page, with their creatives. Is it on pace? Are there any issues? What's the CPA? What's the ROAS? Is it according to the KPI? And basically now it's doing that monitoring daily. So it become something very different. And now we are able to communicate with all of the information. We have all of the data there. And since we then even plug like our tasking tools, our calendars, our marketing channels, our CRM our finance accounts. We can do cross activities across different fields we want to do, and basically do quicker audits, do quicker insights, do quicker optimizations, strategy calls, follow-ups, and those kind of things. And this is like totally a different beast. So basically, the moral of the story is that it's not finished, and this is the new shift that now that we own the data, now that we can plug any data wherever, data scientists are less needed. You really need strong experts. So like I'm already in the field for 13 years, so I know all the metrics, all of the buttons in the channels, and it's easy for me to build stuff. So even with the AI, with all the cool shit I said, yes, it became easier, but still you need to know all of the information that's very hard to know. And yeah, it's cool to talk with your AI, ask it to create a Google Doc, a presentation, and those kind of things. But we moved even further, and we created, actually I started myself, our client portal. So it's app.definechase.com. It's our client portal, but we will be opening it up to self-service. So basically any outsider, even if they're not our client, they will be able to become the users of the portal, which will allow them to basically plug any channel they want and have instantly all of the information there, which is super fast and visually appealing. So basically you see all the creatives, you see all of the locations, all the cities, what's performing, of which channel is performing, what's the budget pace, what's the KPIs, and actually like taking back the knowledge that I personally developed throughout those years, managing millions of spend and billions of downloads and wherever across SaaS, B2B, mobile apps, e-commerce, retail, FMCG, like basically like automotive, like wherever, across all of the different industries, and that knowledge is put in the portal. And now on top of the AI, and since we own the data, it's not like, well, we don't own the data, we basically have it hosted. So we also plugged in AI, and that AI now is able to take the data that's in the portal, and you click a button, generate a meeting brief. Basically, it takes all of the information and generates a meeting brief with insights, which channels to optimize, what to change. It also analyzes the best performing creatives and the worst performing creatives, and that tells you what to create as the next creative brief. Then it also does the whole summary of things that happened and where to move forward. So basically, we started with Excel documents and manual stuff. We moved to something a bit faster. Then we moved to Looker Studio, which most companies are at, to something connecting your APIs and chatting with the data. And now to the portal that basically has all the data, and you have AI there as well. So that's a big step, and that's where we're heading with the Vytis portal. What we will have now is a SaaS model for outsiders as well to join. To get this thing in place, we allow you to even select conversion per platform. It takes all of the conversion action that happen in the account, even if you're not optimizing it for. So if you have a search campaign that's optimizing for registrations, standard reporting will show that as a conversion. But it basically checks how many sales that campaign drove, even if it's being optimized on registration. So we see everything that's happening in the account, and you can select which primary, secondary, tertiary are relevant for you across any platform: Google, Meta, TikTok, Google Analytics, AppsFlyer, Adjust, wherever. It's all there, and you can adjust there. The data is basically the best you can have in terms of the actual event count. Since most people are starting to use Claude or Codex, what we are MCP integration. So you will be able to plug in the connector and connect it to Claude and talk with the data. So that's the vision of the portal, and I wanted to share the journey about the reporting and how troublesome is it for most companies. And if you keep iterating, keep focusing on the thing you love to do, you will achieve greatness. You shouldn't be doing stuff in your Telegram. You should be building an actual product that ships.